Kind of.
Oh, where is the camera?
Oh, camera's in front of us.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. Seventh Street. Yeah.
Then mistakes.
He says a couple of
Yeah, you know, but don't even try. He's really good job. We don't argue. The person that was that's what they will agree. It's really good job. I'd have to go to the store. Have to see it. Street.
All right, I'm gonna start this. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can unmute us. Oh. Okay, well then, I would have started. Sorry, guys, I thought I was still muted. And I have no gavel, so I'm gonna use this. Welcome, everyone, to the special business meeting of the Board of Education, June 8th, 2021. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. No, that's not fine. So, now, this is great. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we're going to try this in this room for the first time, and it's a little discombobulating because our screens for me to watch you guys are back here, so I'm trying to watch it on the computer, which means I can't really see everybody. So we're gonna try as best we can. Okay, so as everybody knows, there was some confusion and some guidance that came out this week regarding masks within the schools. So just so you're clear, just so you're clear, the guidance that came out states now. Thank you, sorry. The guidance that came out states that the children still have to, and the faculty still have to wear masks within the schools. However, when they're outdoors, it's up to each individual district if they want to take the masks off when they go outside. So we're here now to discuss that. We have approximately 13 days left in district, right? 13 school days left in district. So we're here as a board to discuss the options for that. We do want to make one point that no matter what we do, it's only for faculty and students. This does not pertain to visitors, as Governor Cuomo's statements and his new guidance does not pertain to visitors within the school. So anybody that's coming to schools as a visitor still needs to remain masked at all times. Do you have anything you want to read before we go forward with that?
Either way.
Not sure we open. Then I'll let it go to open participation first. Okay, so I'm going to ask if the board members have any questions or any input into how you feel about the removal of masks outside prior to opening it up to anybody in the audience that has any questions. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's something worth doing. Between the studies of the amount of infection that can happen outside and the way our trends have been going and infection rates and all this kind of stuff, I think at this point, outside is the right thing to do with removal of masks, definitely.
I'm in agreement. Outside, I feel it's fine, given, again, the statistics and the information we have now.
Outside, did they do anything with vaccinated parents or they still have to wear masks?
Anybody that's visiting has to wear masks.
Vaccinated.
Visitors? What is that? It's not even a word. Visitors. It was a cross between visitors and vaccinated.
Maybe that's.
Visitors have to wear masks at all times. On district property and within the buildings.
I have just a question as far as social distancing, that hasn't changed. So we're still, our children will still be 6 feet apart or 3 feet apart, depending on.
3 feet for instruction, 6 feet in other
Mhm.
scenarios. All the protocols in the reopening plan.
Okay. Then I'm fine with the no masks outside.
I'm gonna be honest, I agree. I was a little concerned about the no masks inside thing. Yet, that's my own personal opinion. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have voted for it, just means I was a little, hesitant to be so quick and everybody was jumping on it. But I agree that outside with the weather, let the kids go out and play, let them have a little bit of fun, maybe let them do their moving up ceremonies if they're outside without their masks on. I think it's just a nice way to end the year and start off for next year. So I'm gonna open it up to public participation from the audience. What I need from you is to just put in the chat box if you have a question, and then I'll ask you to unmute. No. Yes, Mrs. Hapner, can you unmute yourself?
I can. I have a question.
Wait, hold on 1 second, because we can't hear you. Do we have one? I can only hear a little bit. Just try to speak one more time, Bill's just messing with the audio over here.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I have a question regarding the heat in the classrooms and can teachers and staff put fans on? Because wearing a mask and sitting in 90+ degrees is pretty tough.
Mrs. Hapner, we're aware of the heat issues within all the buildings. It's unfortunately became 90 degrees very quickly. I don't think anybody was prepared for it to be so warm so fast. But unfortunately, masks have to remain in the building, and I believe that they're trying to do what they can to mitigate the heat with the windows open and everything else. So.
I wasn't questioning the masks. I understand the masks. I'm asking if fans can be used to cool down the rooms, because opening the windows doesn't help.
No other protocols are being changed at this time, and with the protocols that the CDC had in place, fans were not allowed in the rooms at the time.
So are they allowed now?
No protocols have been changed by the CDC.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions from the audience?
I have a question.
Mrs. Day, is that you? Yeah, there you are. Go ahead. I think I lost you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. I don't know when people were notified that this Board of Ed meeting was taking place, but I just got a call stating that a Board of Ed meeting was going to take place a few days ago. There was no date given. I thought it was going to happen next week, Tuesday. So I think as a district, we need to be a little bit more forthright in the way that we're communicating with parents. You know, I was like taken back because I read.
Today, I just want to stop you for 1 second. If you read the posting that happened today, there was no phone call or anything made about this meeting days ago, because this meeting was planned this morning.
Karen, if you would let me finish, you would get the entirety of what I'm trying to say. If you would just let me finish first before you interject, I would appreciate that.
Sure.
The first thing I just want to say is that I understand that The commissioner put out a notice that we were made privy to this past weekend, right?
The Department of Health.
The Department of Health, Mr. Zucker. Correct. Now, it seems that we're talking about social emotional learning for the children. We also have to think of the ups and downs and the tumultuous nature that parents have gone through this past year. I think as a district, we're trying to be on board with all of these subtle, sudden changes at the end of the year, and it's causing a lot of confusion and it's causing a lot of ups and downs, not only for the parents, but also for the children. I know that, some people may say, okay, we should totally do away with masks. If we say that we're going with the science and the science has led us thus far, I don't know what the governor was thinking or what the commissioner was thinking with the correspondence that he came out with to make these changes or these provisions by June 7th without even getting confirmation from the CDC on these things. So for us to piggyback off of that correspondence without the CDC even responding to the governor or the commissioner's correspondence that was sent out on the 6th is just I mean, I don't have any words for it. We have 2 weeks to school left, and we want to just change guidelines for indoors initially before the CDC responded to the correspondence saying no, we shouldn't change regulations and rules indoors regarding mask mandates. So why do we have all of these ups and downs going on towards the last 2 weeks of school? That's what I'm having a hard time just trying to wrap my mind around. Are we thinking of the children, or are we making decisions and saying, okay, we're going to invite the parents as stakeholders into the district, into the meeting are you inviting us to find out what our thoughts are or what we feel or what we would like, or are you inviting us to the Board of Ed meetings to just say these are the provisions that we're going to follow, and we just want to inform you that we're going to change our reopening plans based on this correspondence? I'm really trying to get an understanding of that, because we wonder why there's low attendance sometimes at these meetings, and we wonder why parents aren't here to the degree that they should be here, and other stakeholders and residents within our community. But if these are the things that are going on, this is the outcome that is going to result. So if you want to answer that now, I'm done. I was a little confused by the correspondence that was sent from the commissioner, what the governor was saying, and then how, we as a district said, oh, we're going to jump on board with this and we're going to make these changes and we're going to schedule a meeting that nobody has time to attend. We're just shuffling to attend the meeting and stay in the know because we weren't given ample time to be advised that there was even going to be a meeting.
Okay. Do you want me to answer that now?
Yes, because it's very frustrating.
Okay, so I want to just address the first part. Let's start from the beginning. On Friday, Zucker put out a letter stating that if the CDC agreed with him, probably a very poorly, in my opinion, a very poorly written letter. If the CDC did not have any objection, the Department of Health was going to okay lifting the school mask mandate inside the buildings with no input and permission, I guess, from the governor yet, and no input from the CDC yet. So that letter should have never gone out publicly to anybody. But again, that has nothing to do with us as a board or anybody else, because we had nothing to do with that letter. So that's number one. After that letter came out, at no time did we say we were having a meeting. We were doing nothing. We put out no paperwork, no information, no statement, no nothing that said we were going to have a meeting until we got confirmation of what the CDC was saying. So at no point did we say this date is a meeting, whatever. We were waiting on the confirmation from the CDC. That's all we put out, was a statement that said that we would not have a meeting until the CDC gave an answer. So yesterday, Governor Cuomo came out after the CDC released their statement saying, no, we were not going to lift the mask mandate inside the buildings until September. And that they didn't even confirm that they were lifting them inside the buildings in September yet. So that's the next part of that piece, like the part that doesn't not necessarily not involve us, but that we have no control over. So Governor Cuomo came out yesterday then and said, I'm lifting the mask mandate as of today for outdoor activities at school, but not for indoor activities. So now, unfortunately, in town, we have parents on both sides of the fence. People want their kids unmasked and people don't want their kids unmasked. So in order for us to decide if we are going to allow people to unmask their children outside, we had to have this emergency meeting. We cannot change our allowances or the reopening plan without having a meeting that invites parents like yourself to say, I would like my child to still wear a mask. And where we're not saying that if we decide to take the mask mandate away outside, doesn't mean a child still can't wear a mask if a family is more comfortable that way. But it will mean that if you're okay with your child not wearing a mask outside, that they can then do so. Doesn't mean that there are some children in their own right, the older kids, that my daughter walks around with that mask on 24/7, under her chin, over her face, depending upon where she is, whatever. So I don't know if she'll take it off outside. That's her prerogative, and she's fully vaccinated. But the younger children are going to listen to what their parents tell them. So if we give permission for the kids not to have a mask on outside, then it's your right as a parent to tell your child, yes, you can take it off, or no, we want you to keep it back on for the 13 days left in the school year. I understand that it's way at the end of the school year. We're not changing a lot of protocols for the end of the school year, but we can't, the protocols that have changed as far as the kids being able to be in school 5 days in the elementary level and all that other stuff, people were fighting to get their kids back into school. So that's why when those things came out, we put the meetings out to have that input about whether or not somebody would want to be there. Unfortunately, this meeting was held emergently because if we wait a whole nother week till next Tuesday to discuss this at our regular board meeting, what's the point? They're going to be in school for what, 4 more days or 5 more days? So having this tonight, if we make the decision to change that protocol for outside, gives them 2 weeks. And if it's 90 degrees outside for 2 more weeks, which I don't think it's supposed to be, then they have the ability to take that mask off. So I don't know if that really answers the question you were asking, but yes, the purpose of this meeting and the reason it was posted was to have an emergent meeting to allow this protocol to take place.
Well, I appreciate the thoroughness of your response, and you did answer some things, but my thing is that if you're really looking to get a full parental response from parents, you cannot throw a meeting on them so suddenly with anticipation that they're going to be available for it if they're just fine. I got a text message like literally 5 minutes ago telling me that there's a board meeting. So if our incentive and our motive is to really have parents here to vocalize what they do or do not want their children to do these last few weeks of school, then there has to be an assertion on behalf of the board and the district made to ensure that the maximum amount of parents and community stakeholders are able to be at the meeting. And that's not posting a meeting the day of. And that's all I'm saying. Now, with regard to the outdoor and the indoor, from the correspondence that I read a few days ago, and like, again, I said, I got the robocall, and from the call, my understanding was that we're going to follow these provisions. That was my understanding. So I was under the impression that masks indoors were going to now be voluntary as opposed to them being mandated, which I thought was the federal CDC guidance for indoors. Especially, there are some kids, yes, that are fully vaccinated, but there are still kids that are not vaccinated, that do not have the vaccine does not have emergency use authorization, nor does it have FDA approval for children under 12 years old. So we have to look at the risks as opposed to the benefits and see what is the most sound for our children. Children are not impacted to as high as high of a degree as adults, but you also have to think that there are some families that do have family members, children that have family members that do have severe illnesses that can be impacted to a greater degree. This is not an isolated situation where you can just look at one kid and say, oh, well, this parent doesn't want this or that parent doesn't want that. We have to look and analyze the totality of the situation and see what poses the most minimal risk in an indoor setting for COVID spread. And if we're not doing that, then maybe our agenda is a little bit, amiss from where it should be. That's all I'm saying.
We're not changing
We're not
any
changing anything
indoor
indoors.
mandates. The masks are staying on the children inside.
Well,
Faculty-
now this is a decision
But
now because the CDC responded to the governor
but we
to
never
the
said that we were
No one
changing.
ever said we were changing it. No one ever said we were changing it.
Mr. Riemann, I'm
Mr.
telling you, Mr. Riemann, hold on. I'm telling you the perception that I got from the robocall that was sent with the commissioner's letter attached to it.
That's fair. That's how you interpreted it, but that's not fact.
Well,
Excuse me. We never said once that we were changing anything.
Mr.
That's
Riemann,
fact.
I'm not saying that we said declaratively that we're going to change it, but I'm saying that the track record of the board and the district has been to follow the governor regulations in addition to the CDC regulations. Now, if we did not receive a correspondence from the CDC, right, from what the commissioner sent out, or what the governor sent out, we should probably not have sent that robocall to parents because it caused confusion before a decision was made as to what we were going to do indoors. It can have put the perception out that this is what the commissioner is saying. This is more than likely possibly what we're going to do if we've been following state and federal guidelines.
We
Now,
put out a message over the weekend because there was confusion, and we want people to understand what our thought process was over the weekend. We cannot help that Dr. Zucker on Friday at around 3 o'clock decided to put out that letter, which started a firestorm. That's not in our control. We would have appreciated a heads up or waiting till Monday for him to send that letter out. He chose not to. There's nothing we can do about it. You have one perception. You're not the only member of 19,000 people in a community. There were other people who felt the opposite of you and were very confused and they were starting to get angry. And we felt it was best to communicate and be transparent. And that's exactly what we're doing. I'm sorry if you did not get the message. I can look into ways to ensure when there's an emergency board meeting that we can do a better job of communicating that. And that's a fair point. But as far as the rest, this Board of Education has done a phenomenal job in working with the protocols that have come down from Governor Cuomo, not from the CDC, but Governor Cuomo and the New York State Department of Health, and which we've never had a positivity rate over 2%. As a matter of fact, for the most part, if we average it out, it's been under 1%. So
and that's great.
I am not happy with the fact of the insinuation that we do not put safety of these children, your children, our students first. I take very seriously the 1,951 lives that come through these doors every single day.
Mr. Riemann, that is not what I am insinuating. The board has done a great job, and I am not saying that they have not. And I'm not saying that they have not taken certain precautions to ensure that the safety of our children has been met. That is not, please do not misconstrue the message that I am sending across.
That's how I interpret what you said.
No, because I will not have you raise your voice at me and confuse. And
I'm raising my voice because I'm wearing a mask and I want to make sure everyone can hear me clearly. That's all.
I can hear you very clearly. I will not have you accuse me of sending across a message that I am not sending across. I commend the board on the job that they have done. This has not been an easy year. Not only has it not been an easy year for the board, for the parents, and nor has it been for our children. Okay, and I'm sure that we can all agree, and I am sure that we can all agree with that. However, the message that was sent this weekend, and this is my point, was very confounding to me as a parent and also to have to figure out how I'm going to try to explain these changes in provision to my children who have already had a very tumultuous year.
Excuse me, the message that was sent out this weekend reads as follows. We ask for your patience as we wait for official guidance and follow appropriate protocols. Our current plan calls for everyone to wear a mask per the prior guidance requirements. That was the message that was given out this weekend.
I'm talking about the robocall that we got.
That was
That is the roll call.
Well, the robocall, when I went online and I read the commissioner's correspondence, it was my understanding, and if I understood wrong, forgive me, but it was my understanding that we're going to be following this particular correspondence, and we're going to have a meeting about it, a board meeting to discuss this. And upon that board meeting, if there's anything that is changed to the current protocols, we will have to update our reopening plan accordingly. Now, if that's not, is that not the message that?
So let me just clarify something, and we're not going to go back and forth. I understand that there's a lot of misconception here and a little bit of confusion. And the only thing that I can say to you is we don't automatically follow something. If it means changing our reopening plan, we have to have a meeting. So because of the way the CDC came out with this after all what they've been calling all weekend confusion, if you read the letter, in the letter, not you read the letter, I'm talking about all the people in Nassau County and Suffolk County that got all confused and hot under the collar over this letter that went out on Friday. Like I said, it was a very poorly worded letter because it kind of made it sound like immediately Monday morning, everybody could be unmasked. And
That's what I
right. That's the way it made it look to a lot of people. But there were lines in that letter that said, barring any objection from, and we'll wait on, and that, not our letter, but the letter from the Department of Health. And I think people jumped the gun, school districts, and even Laura Curran put it out there that said, you know, yay, the mask mandate is over, but that's not what actually happened. And then everybody was up in arms because somebody from upstate said, yeah, that's not really what just happened. Like, this letter clearly says on Monday, we're going to wait for CDC to respond, and then we'll make a decision, and then each individual district gets to make a decision on their own. So in order for us to have a decision about whether or not the kids can be without a mask outside, we had to hold this meeting. And your point is fair enough that maybe a Connect Ed should have gone out today to all the parents instead of just posting the meeting or throwing it up on social media or whatever. Maybe there should have been a Connect Ed as well. I'm sorry, I was at work. I honestly don't even know if there was a Connect Ed. And maybe that's something, if we have to have an emergency meeting, we very, very rarely have meetings like this where they're, you know, within a couple of hours. But in order for us to have this meeting, it had to be posted as an emergency meeting, and that's how we got it out there. Fair enough. We will put that down. As far as if we have to have some kind of meeting like this again, it will be done via Connect Ed as well. But the only thing that is changing in our protocol right now is that kids, based on the conversation we just had, and we're waiting to see if anybody else from the audience has a question, which I do see people here now, but I'll look at this question. Based on the input we get tonight, will be that the kids can have no mask outside. That's really the only thing that we're changing or discussing now, is that the teachers can allow the kids to take their masks off when they go out to recess, or go outside and read a book, or go outside and practice for moving up ceremonies. Just going to read this next question. It's just. Yes, any visitor, vaccinated or not, has to have a mask on when they attend something at school. At least that's the protocol right now, because the guidance that came out from the CDC and the governor does not address visitors to the school property. So whether you're outside or inside, you need to have your mask on.
And we have asked for clarification from Governor Cuomo and the New York State Department of Health on that matter.
And should that change, we would then have to discuss it at a meeting before we could change that again also. Although if that changes, it probably wouldn't be till the end of the week, which means that would be able to take place at our regular meeting next week. And then maybe people wouldn't have to have masks on at moving up ceremonies if they're outside or something like that. So I don't know, Mrs. Sharvin, if that answered your question or if you still need us to email you that answer. Is there any other member of the audience that has a question? If you could put it in the chat, just put in the chat group that you have a question. Okay, so, Mrs. Day, as I know that you're on here and I just have one question. Sports after school. I'm sorry, I'm gonna come back to you. Are we talking about extracurricular sports from in school? Or are we talking about like the Chiefs or something like that?
Hi, it's me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
I was talking about like, there's a track meet tomorrow. And so the parents that are in the stands and the kids that are racing and stuff like that, or do they have to wear their masks if they're at the meeting?
Any visitor, which includes parents or, you know, other faculty members, whatever, spectators, have to wear masks. The students will not have to wear masks if they are running track. They're not allowed to be the other kids. There's still only 2 people per kid.
No, I mean other participants from the other teams.
No, they wouldn't have,
Okay.
right?
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I just joined. I didn't realize there was a meeting until now, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome. We just discussed that and the fact that we would look to, it's not something that we do often where there's a emergent Board of Ed meeting, but that maybe we need to make sure Connect Ed goes out for it if we do in the future. So my question to the parents that are on here, because I do see that there are quite a few of you on here. Mrs. Day, this was the question that I was just posing to you. So to you and you, Mrs. Palmieri and Mrs. Sharvin, and I saw a couple of other people on there, Mrs. Chicalisi. If you could weigh in, you could even just put it in the chat group, how you feel, yes or no. Yes, no masks outside for the students, or no, that you would like them to wear masks at this point still. Just to see what parents are feeling. So it looks like the majority of the parents that I'm seeing right now are okay with no masks outside. You know, as long as the kids are staying with their proper distancing, as far as I'm concerned, I agree with you, you know, as long as they're not thinking that no masks means they can be wrestling or jumping on each other. So with that, I think that we're all in agreement at this point to change the reopening plan. So we are just going to read you the paragraph, right?
Yep.
The paragraph that will be stated in the reopening plan. And again, I do want to make sure that everybody is aware. Again, I just want to reiterate it. This applies to students and faculty only, employees of the district and students only. Any visitors to the school outside need to remain masked. That includes spectators to sporting events.
We're going to leave all the current face mask protocol information in the first paragraph, and we'll add the following: effective June 8th, 2021. That's not correct. Effective June 9th, 2021. Face masks are not required to be worn outdoors on school grounds, including during outdoor sports or school sports, excuse me. However, responsible parties, which would be the district, may choose to require face masks outdoors on school grounds subject to the parameters of this guidance. No student, teacher, staff member, or visitor may be prevented from wearing an acceptable face mask voluntarily on school grounds. That's the gist of it right there. Effective June 9th, 2021, face masks are not required to be worn outdoors on school grounds, including during outdoor school sports. That's the key part. We do reserve the right to the longer school year, or it was earlier in the school year, if something changed, to ask people to return to wearing masks.
So the short version of that is exactly what we just said. Visitors and anybody that is not school faculty and or students need to wear masks. But did I just do that right? Yeah, visitors and anyone that's not students or faculty need to wear masks, still even outside. However, the students and the faculty, as long as they maintain the distance, they can, take their masks off, but they need to have them. Yes, I agree. Students need to be reminded by their, either the monitors or the aides or the teachers they're outside with, put them in your back pocket or whatever, because you're gonna have to take them and put them back on when you walk back in the building. They can't be left in the classroom, and then you walk in the building and put them back on. They have to be taken off when they get outside and put back on before they come inside. So at this point, do we have any other questions, before I allow the board to vote on this? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so as of tomorrow, students will be maskless outside. Again, just one major statement: if your child is uncomfortable being without the mask, and I'm sure some might be, then they are more than welcome to continue to wear their masks. If you're uncomfortable with your child not having a mask on, you can express to your child that they still need to wear their mask outside. We will see you back here next Tuesday. Our regular board meeting, 7:30 in the high school video conference room. Just a reminder that if you're coming to the meeting physically, we prefer that you come in the side door by the video conference room. We're gonna try to prop that open and have somebody out, or have somebody out there, so that we're not walking through the whole building. All right? At this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you very much for all your input.